Hello, my name is Yaquelin Galvis Rivera. Nowadays, I am an English teacher from 8th to 11th grade at Antonio Nariño High School at municipality of Saravena. I've been working as a teacher since 2000, but I was born and brought in north of Santander, living as a citizen and surrounded by malls and high buildings. I have an idea about how to teach, about my classroom, and about my resources. I imagine myself using in my classroom a lot of songs, a lot of record, TV or PC programs. I imagine and I hope my students know about technology and use at least their own dictionary. But I have no idea that we learn how to teach when we finish the university. When we arrive at public school, we have another different reality. But the first thing you need to do is smile with your students because they hope a good person, they hope a hero, and you need to be a hero because you must teach English with anything. But the most important thing you need to do is to be an ear, is to be a word, is to be the exactly word to save a life, maybe. All of these aspects made me think about my teaching style. And I began to look at the land and look at my students' histories and life. So I began to teach based on my students, based on the context. This is my first activity when I began to work in a new school, because we never finish to learn how to teach English. We must ask every day how or what are the strategies to my students' learning. But I suppose you would like to listen about my experience. First of all, I locate you in my context. The pedagogical experience called Skills Development through the Student's Strategy, Bilingual Touristic Guidance was born in the village of Puerto Nariño at the municipality of Saravena. It is located in the northwest of Arauca department. Maybe you have listened about Arauca as a violence land, guerrillas and oil land. But today, I'm going to show you the true face of this land, because I want you to imagine the smells, taste and colors. Near to the urban area is located Puerto Nariño as a village, near to Madre Vieja's river and a large savanna. Our community cultivates different products, and of course, we have one of the best cocoa grain in the world. People at Puerto Nariño make a chocolate bar, cocoa wine, and so forth. Students are special because they study at school during the morning and later they work as cowboys or farmers. Some of them need to travel every day from their houses to school near to 1 hour or 40 minutes. Unfortunately, during many decades, they have to suffer the violent consequence caused by the political, economical, and military power. But when I arrived at Antonio Nariño High School, I didn't look at those aspects. I looked at the opportunities to improve quality life of students. My school is immersed on a program from Fontour and the MINSID, Tourist, Industry and Business Minister, nominated CAT, Tourist School Friend. The principal idea of that project is to create a touristic culture from school. So we associate this idea to learning, If we are going to have tourists, we need to think about all people, and we need to use the global language, English of course. We can show some beautiful places using a bilingual guidance. And who can do this task? We as a teacher couldn't do it. So they should be students, the owner of the places and the principal actor of those processes. To design a pedagogical experience, we need to take into account 3 general facts because it should be integral and responsible with the context. The first was students. The second was the territory or the context. And finally, we need to develop the national quality reference given by the National Education Ministry. All of those closed in a page called Puerto Nariño, Agri-Food Land, Peaceful Land. Beginning with the students, we need to know the learning needs. If they have resources to study, to practice English language speaking, or to do simple homeworks. You suppose the answer to this is not. At the beginning, maybe it is a good and a true answer, but later I'll show you the opposite. I show you the big and the fat yes. When we have students, we need to identify students' learning style because they are different and special. For example, a group of students may live in a town, but other group live in a village with cows and horses. Other students live near to the river, fishing or sailing, or some of them live in Venezuela. So they have different opportunities to learn. This is my first yes. We need to place students in a situation to practice communicative competence. When we give students a learning situation, they apply grammar structure, write and read, and they share their feelings using listening and speaking skills. One of the most meaningful situations is their home, because they know all about their home and how it works. Now we are into syllabus design, and we should keep the institutional educational project in an English learning process. We draw a spiral line using values and educative community profiles. Also, our learning process needs pedagogical support for me as a guardian, and we put into the syllabus the constructivism, the project-based learning, and the communicative approach to describe classroom activities. When we have the general structure and you have the learning objective, you need to ask yourself, how could my students act or react in front of the strategy? Is this a forced activity? Or is this a pleasure activity? So we need to ask, how may I evaluate the competence acquisition or the learning requirement to present a parent's report, for example? We need to identify the student's learning style and skill to do a coherent evaluation. We should think the evaluation is not a qualification instrument. The evaluation is an open window through learning and teaching process because we can figure out weakness and improve the strategies according to students' needs. Also, when I talk about the evaluation, I mean how my students identify their opportunities and their fails according or using the teamwork or self-learning. Now we have a global idea about learning process using Turing as an excuse and to transform an economic activity in a meaningful learning environment. We start on the general syllabus design from PAY to reinforce the English lesson plan to 10th and 11th grade. Each one of these groups have similar goals and competence to develop. When we are on 10th grade, we need to value the development alternative actions such as Turing's through the descriptions. Here, students must to apply some grammar structure, some verbal tense, and a relative vocabulary. They use an active voice to tell us how they look their environment and why we should love it. Some of the specific topics are perfect tense, modal verbs, zero and first conditional. If they reach to describe in a written and in an oral way their touristic place, they have developed the competence. Specify in writing and speaking way narrative and descriptive tests related to regional touristic possibilities. While 11th grade students should evaluate the intercultural relationship between modern language and a foreign language. The parents' culture brings the students closer to alternative ways to improve quality life. They need to negotiate the wisdom with the young needs. Students must ask for information, organize and classify it into a specific format to make a touristic brochure, doing or raising the competence, promote in a responsible way the cultural characteristics from their touristic context. Now in class, I think on a didactic sequences because I need to develop a competence around a situation. So I need to talk around different moments. I call those moments sessions. Usually, I choose 3 sessions. Each one of them have a class from 2 or 3 hours divided by format, where students try to identify the general topic or where students give their opinions or suggestions about a question or a picture. The second part of my class refers to exploration. Here, we have an individual work because students need to listen and comprehend the information needed to next exercises. There, teacher explains and gives some examples to guide in exercises to students and hope students ask questions about it. Finally, we have a third moment, the practice. Really, this is the noisiest moment in my class. And we don't have problems because students are happy and relaxing. They share into their teams, ideas, questions, and answer about the activity. Sometimes we use this time to imagine or prepare a community activity out of classroom. But we need to do evaluation all time. We can use written test, oral test, but my favorite activity to do evaluation is to share feelings with each one by small teams and during the class. Sometimes we don't have homeworks because if you imagine or plan an activity, you surely have a lot of tasks. Students always work by the same teams because they choose their friends and know their skills and their reality. It is a good way to guarantee a good activity. Those are my classroom's evidence. From a proposal activity to the result. First, you can watch the 10th grade class. It is an example where we planned to look for wisdom and transform into a creative idea through descriptions and undertaking. First, we study about illness, vocabulary and modal verbs. Then, located those on a general context. We also need to create a context around students' imagination, student cartoons. So, they write some stories using the general idea and think about a solution to the problem. They expose this story and then they have to look for a real solution to illness using natural and homemade recipes. They must socialize their ideas, presenting a stand and their final product to self. While in 11th grade, we do a similar process, but looking for information about touristic places and include a brochure to socialize in class. First, they need to talk with the farm or the natural resource owners. They make a list of activity to do and how much it costs, where and when we can go there and how we can go. Finally, they design their brochure, they expose, they sell, and they do a touristic guidance with a real tourist at the annual English Song Festival and Fair. As a conclusion, I just want to tell you another big and a fat yes. Students' context is the best resort to teach a foreign language. You only need to understand it, love it, and do it meaningful to students and community. I have been doing this pedagogical experience since 2018, step by step. Sometimes I have to change things or activities, but I never change the principal purpose: teach English into the meaningful environment and promote the students' pertinence with their context. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you to ASOCOPI to give me this opportunity to learn and to improve my English level and my English teaching style. See you.